Blessings and greetings, Israel. This is part two of where we left off. We were dealing with the 147 feet wide. Now, the draft of that ship is 36 feet, meaning the bottom portion or the draft is 36 feet. 3 plus 6 is 9, equaling destruction for the 83 conglomerate and the blessing for Yasharallah. And it says in the report that it was sending 6 people, the wreckage, this ship hitting that bridge, sends 6 people to their deaths in dark waters below and closing one of the country's busiest ports. By nightfall, the desperate search for 6 people who were working on the bridge and vanished when it fell apart had become a grim search for bodies. Now, it was significant that it happened on a Tuesday. Tuesday is significant with the nation because we know that when you go into 83's playbook, uh, they always raise the God of War. They raise the God of War, which is based on a Tuesday. And this God of War that was warring on their behalf is now running. And he's running from our power, the true power, which is the true God of War who wars for his people. All praise to the mighty one. Now, in the report, they used a significant term, which I think is a key word that they used. They said that the bridge fell like a house of cards. That stood out to me. And I wanted to investigate what are they signaling? What are they saying when they're saying a house of cards? Well, this term house of cards, according to Webster, it says it's a noun phrase, a structure, situation, or institution that is insubstantially shaky or in constant danger of collapse. I'll read that again. House of cards, what the house of cards uh, insert, or what they're saying by this bridge folded like a house of cards or collapsed like a house of cards, is saying that the structure or the situation or institution that is insubstantial is shaky or in constant danger of a collapse. Now, what do we know that's in a constant stage of collapse? Their kingdom is falling. Babylon the Great is falling, has fallen, has fallen. All praise to the mighty one. The first known use of the house of cards was in the year of 1645. It's saying that when they date this back, according to Webster, it's saying that the first time that this term was used, house of cards, was in 1645. Now, what's interesting about the house of cards, the house representing a nation or representing a certain class of people. What was interesting about this is that the house of cards is significant in that it's tied to what they would call the first known use of the house of Burgess. So the house of cards is related or connected to this house that is called the house of Burgess. And the first time that they heard this term to be used, the house of Burgess, was in 1619. Now, anybody that's in the nation of Israel, the children of Yasharallah, know that 1619 is significant to us because it marks the beginning of the 400 years, and 2019 represented the end. All praise to the Most High. This house of Burgess, when I was looking at it, is significant because it deals with the Confederate nation. And I need to find where it is right quick in my notes. Give me just 1 second. Confederate, the Confederate nation. Okay, here we are. 1619 represents the 400 years of bondage, and the House of Burgess is connected to the Confederate forces in the state of Virginia, developed, it says, in the 20th century into a bridge state. Now, Virginia became a bridge state between the North and the South. So, between the North and the South, Virginia, or this place called Jamestown, where the so-called they say African Americans or uh, the colored uh, were enslaved and brought to these ports, is in 1619 in Virginia, Jamestown, Virginia. Uh, it's interesting that they will use the term the House of Cards. The House of Cards is tied to the House of Burgess. The House of Burgess is tied to Virginia, which is the Confederate States, where they have a bridge between the North and the South. Virginia is the bridge between the North and the South. So as we look at this, we can see how these 83 is communicating to one another, and believe that the children of Yasharallah will be taken by surprise. But there will be no surprises, for our power is with us, and certainly they shall say, it is Emmanuel. He is God with us. Another interesting part about this story on the bridge and the collapse, and I only saw this in one message as I was looking up the information, where one commenter brought up the fact that the Dolly Bridge, well, my fault, the Francis Scott Key Bridge that was hit by the Dolly was a nod to Salvador Dali. To Salvador Dali. Now, when I went to research, who is Salvador Dali? Salvador is a term, or a Latin term, Spanish, the Spanish Inquisition term that means Savior. So it means Savior Dali, or Salvador Dali. Now, Salvador Dali, from my understanding, was a poet and a painter and a performer. A poet, a painter, and a performer. Now, one of his pieces that he has, a painting that he has, is called "The Broken Bridge and the Dream." The Broken Bridge and the Dream. Now, it was painted in 1945, it says, by Salvador Dali. And it says that this painting, when you look at it, it was a nod to Sigmund Freud, or Sigmund Freud, or however you pronounce his name. Now, I have did some studies on Sigmund Freud because of his neurology, or seeming at that time, in order for us to get out of this neurosis, the neurological or psychological prison that we were in, I knew that he was significant way back in some sort of way against the people of the Most High. But I couldn't figure it out at that time because we was deep into the curses. But Salvador Dali gave a nod to Sigmund Freud or Sigmund Freud in his painting. Now, this is what it means according to dreams. Now, here the name of the painting was "The Broken Bridge and the Dream." Now, dreaming about a broken bridge can symbolize, this is according to a spiritual interpretation of dreaming. Dreaming about a broken bridge can symbolize a loss of support, stability, or a disruption in life. It may also represent a fear of taking risks or making a big decision. Now they're on the verge of having to take certain risks. They're taking risks that they hadn't wanted to take. It's getting to be a risky time, especially with all the knowledge and understanding that's coming forward. So now they're forced into a corner to take a risky decision. I mean, taking risks or making a big decision, or a sense of uncertainty or instability in waking life. Now, it's saying that this dream state, which we all know that they've been living what they call the American dream. They were in a dream state or living the dream while they were woke and we were asleep. And while we were asleep and they were awake, they were living the American dream. In other words, they were living our reality.